Hi, this is Matt Gressick coming at you again with another episode of Brick and Mortar. Here's my co-host.
Hi, I'm Eric Eversole. We do education from the inside out. I think we're really doing it more from the outside in this time. This is the second of two shows, and Matt, as we said in the first show, attended a international education convention, and he asked some people what was on their mind in education. It turns out they didn't want to talk about exactly education.
Yeah.
And so from the outside in, he has several of them recorded what their concerns are. You're going to find that there's pretty much one thing they want to talk about. They did in the first ones what we did, and it's going to be similar, but not exactly the same this time.
Yeah, we're going to be talking about the upcoming presidential election. One of the things that you're going to notice, interestingly enough, last episode, my wonderful co-host mentioned the world seeing us as kind of a responsibility as kind of a police. And like the police, at times we haven't always gotten it right. See Philippines, see United Fruit Company.
Right.
And as a history teacher, it's my duty to make sure.
Banana republics writ large. Iran.
Yeah,
we did a very bad job there too.
So this is going to be a little bit different theme. But we're going to hit on it. We're going to do the very same thing we did before. See if you can spot the theme. We're going to start off here in a second with this first recording, and then we're going to talk about it. We're going to do the same for the others. All right,
off we go.
Hi, my name is Tisa Fiddler, and I'm an educator in Canada, in Ontario, Canada. I'm a First Nations educator, and I work in supporting the implementation of Indigenous content into curriculum. And we've been watching the U.S. election quite closely because it does impact Indigenous peoples cross-border as well. You know, and Indigenous peoples did not have those colonial borders in place. And so we are watching to see how our brothers and sisters, how their children are going to be impacted by the outcomes of the election. And we absolutely support our colleagues, our brothers and sisters that work in education in their call for democratic process and to elect a president that will uphold the rights of all people, including Indigenous children.
Go ahead.
Well, that's a good one. I mean, a North American pronouncing her R's. Gotta love that right off the bat. That's a wonderful thing. But I think she starts talking about education, and pretty much like when you originally went to get these, you wanted people to talk about education around the world in the United States. She immediately transitions and pivots over to the election here. Yeah. This election, unlike many others around the world, is the focal point of people all around the world, neighbors on both sides of us. And it's clear to her that she's concerned about people's rights, okay, both in Canada and in the United States and probably in other places, that this election will influence how we treat people. And I think she's pretty clear on how she feels the election should go to make that better for people.
Well, and she hits on the colonial powers and the boundaries that were set up by the colonial powers perfectly. Just a wonderful excerpt about how this election is going to affect everyone. From those that are indigenous to America, as well as those who are immigrants and also captives who came to America.
Yeah. And so, here we are. I mean, we're looking at the importance of this, not just between the North and South borders of the United States.
My name's Josh Cleary. I'm from Queensland, Australia. I'm a deputy principal who has previously taught visual arts. My grave concerns about the possible outcome in the presidential election in America are around the regressive policies which will potentially come from the election of Donald Trump, not to mention the lies and misinformation that is being spread by himself through his policies and his supporters, which fly in the face of what we do as educators, which is telling the truth and supporting that with the facts.
All right, so this was an Australian teacher who discussed about the facts and really worried about election of Trump would mean and that distortion of the facts. And we talk all the time about sifting through and having media literacy in history. And I think he hits it perfectly there. What do you think?
Well, I think the thing that we're looking at here is, again, I think his direct reference to the lies that are being told that are clearly lies. And now we begin to look at a theme that might be emerging here, and I know that Matt will want you to find it.
Love the theme.
I don't mean to give it away, but we need to set an example. And if the example is that people can lie and make up truths and somehow still get elected to office in the United States, that we're not setting a very good example for the truth that democracy should be supporting. And so I think we really are on the spot here in a big way.
Wonderfully said. And let's look at the next one.
Question.
You talk. Say your name.
Yeah, I'm Henry Sinkala. I'm the General Secretary for Basic Education Teachers Union of Zambia. Of course, my quick thoughts on the coming USA elections are that every country looks up to the USA in terms of leadership, in terms of policy direction, in terms of the foreign policy. So indeed, we are quite interested in what is going on. Yeah, for example, the wars in Ukraine, the wars in Gaza, really they require magnanimity so that we don't witness people dying in the manner that they are dying. When you are fighting, when you are at war, there is no winner. You are all losers because the souls can never be reversed. They can never be brought back. So as the USA Americans go to vote, let them introspect on what could be the best for the world, not just for them, but for the world. And obviously, I'm a supporter of democrats, and really I would want to see that they are fair and free elections, and the best man, woman should win. But whoever wins in the November elections is that really they must provide leadership by ensuring that wars, they resolve issues amicably without losing any single life.
So there you go. First of all, he uses the phrase "look up to." I mean, this is what you look up to older brothers. You look up to people who are more developed and farther along the continuum. And I think we are, and I think a lot of the world thinks we are, in terms of our approach to democracy, and in terms of being part of the world. Now he says we have to think about what would be best for the world. I posit that part of the reason they think that is because what's best for the world is also best for us, because we cannot live in isolation in this particular case. And I believe that he talks about how the wars are bad and people are dying. And I think maybe we talked about the word policeman, but I think he sets us up as mediator for the world, that we should be the people who are stepping in and actually helping to secure solutions to the problems.
Yeah, and I like the one phrase that gets from me is free and fair elections are definitely important.
Yeah.
And that they happen. And he mentions that there that I thought was valuable.
I think around the world there are people where there are elections, and just because you say there are elections, they're not automatically free, they're not automatically fair, they just have elections.
Yep. Ready for the next one?
Yep, let's go.
Hi, my name is Linn Therese Myhrvold. I'm from Norway, and I'm a member of the Executive Board of Union of Education Norway. In my opinion, the US presidential election is, among a lot of things, a question about moving forward and continuing to strengthen human rights or risk major setbacks in that matter. The world needs a strong US that can contribute to stability, safety and peace, and the defense of freedom of speech, democracy, gender equality, and the list goes on. Personally, I'm rooting for Kamala Harris, a strong minority woman whom I believe will lead US in the right direction and contribute to empower women all over the world.
All right, well, that one was from Norway. And Norway, I got to tell you, every time spoke beautiful English, beautiful German, beautiful French, and I'm pretty sure they could speak Spanish as well. Very impressive delegation, and just wrapped it up in holding human rights to be very important.
I felt like she was injecting me with a syringe. It went so quickly. Okay.
Yes.
Like, oh, that's everything. Good. She talks about something important. that if you watch the Democratic National Convention moving forward, and then she moves into human rights. And this is a big concern. Canada said something about this. The woman from Canada said something about this. I think the gentleman from Australia also mentioned some of the people who are what we would call protected classes who may not be protected anymore. Yeah. And so I believe she says that we need to do this. And partly because we are such a much more diverse culture here in the United States, we show how to treat all cultures with as much equity as we can, and we have a long way to go. And
Yes.
and backwards is not the direction.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. All right, let's listen to this one.
My name is Rebecca Okranabedu. I'm from Ghana. I am a teacher. I'm the assistant headmistress of a boys' school of about 3,000 boys, and also the gender coordinator of my union, National Association of Graduate Teachers. I am really expectant of the American people to bring out a president who is very all-inclusive. And for me, for today, we have a woman standing up, and I pray and hope that Americans will vote for Pamela because, not just because she's a woman, but she's a capable woman, and she's somebody who has inclusivity in her outlook. So, Americans, it's over to you. The world is expecting you to bring up the best. Thank you very much.
The world is expecting. Okay? I mean, that was her last line. The world's expecting to bring out the best. And she says, of course, Kamala's a woman. By the way, that's also us setting an example, although we're not the first nation and to elect a woman, or to hopefully elect a woman to be our leader. Other countries have done it, but I think they're looking at the United States to be able to do it as well. And they say not just because she's a woman, obviously because she's capable, and then she comes back to the thing that we talk about, inclusivity.
Yeah, and this is the second person from Ghana that I recorded, because I had two people that were really eager to participate from Ghana, and I thanked them for that. It was wonderful. There were some countries that were rather reluctant to participate.
You should say why.
Well, yeah, whether it be because of one was because of culture. It's simply in their culture, unions don't do that. Unions don't take sides.
But
Another one was because they asked, well, what if Trump wins?
What if we record this
Yes.
and they hear it and then Trump wins?
Yep, and that fear was definitely there.
Which tells you that they didn't want Trump to win, but they just didn't really want to go on record.
Correct.
Frightening.
So let's listen to the next one.
Hello, I'm Alan Crosby. I'm from Scotland. I'm the head of an English department in Edinburgh, and I'm currently president of the Educational Institute of Scotland, the largest teachers' union in Scotland. The American election could not be more important for everyone across the world because of the ideas and the values which are at stake. What we have on the one hand is a kind of authoritarian figure who wants to roll back on all the areas of equality and social justice that have been won over the past decades. And on the other, we have someone who stands for those values of social justice. So it's very clear to us elsewhere in the world that what happens in the United States will be incredibly important across the world because of the consequences will be huge. So that's why all of us are paying close attention, and it's why all of us, I think, breathed a huge sigh of relief recently when Kamala Harris became the candidate for social justice. So we're not so much interested in the party politics, we're interested in the values and the ideas and the consequences of a Harris victory.
Cheers. So Alan Crosby, I'm sure he's going to listen to this at some point. I felt like I found a brother across the pond with Alan, just a compatriot, a brother in this union work. And he hit it right off the head where he's like, we're electing a champion for social justice. And I know with him, we had long talks. For instance, I talked to him about what are you going to do after you're done with being president of your country's union. He was like, well, I don't know, just retire. And I was like, why don't you think about running for public office?
You know anybody else who's done that?
Yeah, like a good friend of mine here who's going to chime in.
Education career.
But yeah, it was a great conversations with him. And again, those are the kind of bonds that you want to make at events and conferences like this.
So they're similar terms. They talk about setting an example. They talk about equality and concern about that, and they talk about not rolling back. and we've heard move forward, and we've heard not rolling back. And then he says, you know, what happens in America is important across, you know, we're not Las Vegas. What happens in Las Vegas stays in Las Vegas. What happens in the United States happens everywhere. That's what we're hearing.
You are right, my friend. And hopefully you guys are spotting the theme of values here coming out. And we're going to listen to one more, and it's a great one. I know you're going to enjoy it.
All right, so I am Nathan Johnson, president of the Jamaica Teachers Association. And of course, you know, Jamaica is the third largest Caribbean island in the Greater Antilles. Of course, the upcoming U.S. elections promises to be one that brings excitement. We are looking for a president that will continue to promote public education, one that is pro-union. And if Kamala Harris is presenting this, then this is the person we would want to continue doing business and having a relationship with Jamaica. Incidentally, she has Jamaican heritage, Jamaican background, Portland. And of course, this is somebody who we're excited about in Jamaica. So we say, go Kamala.
So Matt, after watching DNC, were you aware that Kamala had Jamaican roots? I wasn't. I'm glad he's proud of it, but we're well aware of it. And, that's a great thing. I mean, he says some things that actually haven't been brought up before, talking about public education and the importance of public education and importance of all the money that government contributes, in my opinion, should be used for public education.
Exactly.
The other education can exist, but it's not up to us to support that. We need to support an education that's available to everyone.
Well, not only pro-public education, but pro-union.
There, that too.
And I love that we're ending on this one. Not only is, you can tell the pride from the Jamaican heritage going into this endorsement, but also the pride in being an educator and being a union member, which is part of what brought us together.
Right. That's true.
That's
absolutely correct.
And so it's one of those things that as you're going, this is a call of values. And these last 2 episodes hopefully have you inspired to do something. Do something. Help out and make sure that the world that's looking at us sees us as the example that we want to be, that we need to be.
We don't need the world to decide who our president should be, but we need to understand how important it is to them who our president should be. And not in the bag. Okay.
That's right.
I mean, it's as clear as it is to everyone that Matt interviewed. It's not perfectly clear here. And so we're going to have to clarify it for people.
Yes, exactly. But that's it for us.
That's it for us. We are set up as the examples for the world. We have to be the exemplars. Mm-hmm. We have to show people that democracy works and that democracy can live.
Yep. We'll see you in a few weeks.
All right. Thanks. Bye.
Take care.
Seen the bride